5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I want everybody to think about your childhood self, your past, where you came from, more like what you're made of, your DNA, what percentage of ethnicities you may have in your DNA or whatnot. But think about that. Do you guys even know that, the percentages or any of that? I didn't think so, neither do I, but I've got family that has told me a lot about my heritage and my ancestors. So I'm actually part Czechoslovakian. So today I'm going to be presenting to you the Czech Republic. This is their flag. This is the Czech Republic flag. And so my ancestors actually originated from Czechoslovakia, but there's some history behind it on why it's now called the Czech Republic. I would like to start with today by talking to you about the background, the human rights in the country, their sustainable development goal, which is actually going to be goal 8. That I chose out for the Czech Republic, and then also I'm going to be talking about a lot of education in the Czech Republic. So last and finally, I will be presenting to you the background. So a lot about the history of the Czech Republic. They were actually 2 republics. So you had the Slovaks and the Czechs. And together they were called Czechoslovakia, and so Czechoslovakia became a member of the Warsaw Pact, which is actually a defense treaty that was established by the Soviet Union, according to the One World Nations Online. And they then got invaded by troops and regained their freedom with the Velvet Revolution and became the Czech Republic. But fun fact, the Czech Republic is also called Czechia, so it also has like 2 different names. And then they also ended up falling into a velvet divorce, which is where Slovakia and the Czech Republic kind of split from being together. And so that's why, as you see on the map here, you kind of have the Czech Republic right here, and then right next to it is Slovakia. So that's why they're kind of split. And the Czech Republic also then became a member of NATO, which is like a security alliance that contains a total of like 30 other countries, according to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And they're also a member of the European Union, which is an alliance between 27 European countries that come together for the economy in hopes to prevent like any further future conflicts in Europe. And then also I will be talking to you today about a little bit of their military. Their last war obviously was back in 1968 when the Soviet Union invaded Czechoslovakia. And then also Czechia is ranked only number 4 on the amount of military power that they have. So they're not up there, but they're average. They're around 50. But I'll also be talking about their population. So 64% of the Czechs kind of live in Czechia, and then there's 5% that's Moravian. There's less than 2%, or no, greater than 2% is Slovaks, Germans, Chinese, Bulgarian. They've got Ukrainians, Russians, Vietnamese, and Roma, which kind of like consists the rest of the population. So they have a lot of diversity of ethnicities, and so it's not all just one ethnicity or race in one country. It's very diverse. You've got a lot of different varieties of the ethnicities. And then So the fertility rate in Czechia has risen from 2010 to 2020. So you can tell that they obviously are going to have more of a population growth. And the European Union also finds fault with Czechia for the directed policies towards the Roma population. So majority of the Czech Republic also speaks Czech, according to the European Federation of National Institutions for Language. And then I'll also talk about the size of the country a little bit. They're kind of like a smaller country, as you can tell from up here. They only are, it has an area of 78,864 kilometers per square, and so they're kind of a smaller country also, so that's why they also have a smaller population of 10,000. And then I'll also talk to you about the human rights in the Czech Republic. So in history, women in the Czech Republic have struggled with supporting equality. They have equal political rights, but women are still underrepresented in the country. The first Czech president believed that building a democracy connected to supporting women's rights, according to the policy and gender equality in the Czech Republic. And then there is also a gender pay gap for women and who work in the labor market. So it just goes to show that women get paid less than men for doing the same job. And then there's electoral opportunities. They're a bicameral parliament. And there are specific requirements to vote. You must be 18, a citizen, a resident, and must vote at the polling station based upon the individual's permanent residence. And they also have the Romani rights. According to the Rome archive, the status of the Roma has been developing in the Czech land since the earliest in the 15th century. And in the 1960s, the emperor declared the Roma as outcasts, causing the law to sentence any if all Roma people to death. So they have a lot of history there too with the Roma people. And then with their employment rate, they have decreased from 2021, if you want to talk more about their population. And then I'll also talk about their sustainability. So their sustainability goal was number 8, and where is it? Oh, and the sustainability goal's purpose was to be inclusive and sustainable of economic growth and full productive employment and decent work for all, according to the United Nations. So a lot of their employment has to do with that and their economy and how stable they are. And it has been shown that their GDP has dropped significantly in 2020 due to COVID, and they were able to recover in 2021 by bringing up their GDP to a 3.3% in 2022, according to the OECD. And then I also want to talk about the education. It also takes, in elementary school, it takes 9 years to complete. And then they also have their their primary grades 1 through 5. And then they also have their upper secondary, and it usually takes 4 years to complete. And then they have their university, which is kind of after all that. It's kind of similar to ours. And then kind of to bring back to thinking about yourself, thinking about where you come from. It's good to know about yourself, just to know your history. And the sense of the purpose was to learn about other countries and who you are and where your ancestors come from, and that brings a whole nother understanding of who you are as an individual. So, yeah, that is it.